Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 22, and today I'm going to be starting my track breakdown series, starting off with Qatar within the MotoGP Academy mode. So bringing on the acceleration down to the first corner, braking just after that white line before you get to the rumble strip, and keeping a very nice tight apex to turn 1. Really tight as you like, bring on the power, projectile out, pay attention to the little white lines on the outside of the track there onto the grass. You'll see there's big white thick lines. You can use that as a reference point going into the left-hander. Now into turn 3, you're going to gently bring on acceleration and keep it relatively pinned, maybe about 75%, and then of course you can move over. So into turn 1 once more, braking just after the little white strip before is better for beginners, but if you're pretty confident on the brakes you can go afterwards. So now into the left-hand side, white strips on the floor as mentioned. Keep it nice and tight to the apex for turn 2. And now for turn 3, very important, maneuver the bike over early rather than later. Position that bike where it needs to be before you get to turn 3. If you do it before turn 3, you'll be fine. If you do it afterwards, you're going to be too late. So braking once more, turn 1, keeping it nice and tight to the apex. You can see how much brake I'm using in the bottom right hand corner of your screen there. Rear brake getting a use as well, but mostly front brake, as we now go into the left hand side for turn 2. Keeping it relatively the middle of the track or going for a really tight apex is entirely up to you. And now positioning it to the right hand side early for turn 3, and then beginning to go on the brakes just as you see this white line here, just that white line before the rumble strip. Now if you tackle turn 4 correctly, you're into the second sector. So now into the second sector, we're going to go to the right hand side for turn 5. I do recommend a tighter apex for turn 5, you will see that for the next parts of the video, as we now go firm on the brakes for turn 6. You can use a lot of front brake here and a lot of rear brake. The Aprilia is pretty good on the brakes, so you'll probably not lose the front unless you really stamp on it, so just be very careful with that. But now into turn 7, going for that wider line, doesn't really work. Tried it, didn't like it. I would highly recommend going for a tighter apex. So now to the right hand side for turn 4 once more. Bringing on the power, got to get onto the rumble strip here and keep it nice and tight to the apex of turn 5, so then you can gradually bring on the acceleration. Pay attention to the green part of the track there, that's giving you an indication on when to start braking, so start braking there, hold it in, trail brake into turn 6, and then prepare yourself for turn 7. Just as the green part starts here as well, you can begin to start braking, keeping that tighter apex, tight apex, bring on the acceleration, and get through the next objective. So once more, sector 2. Keep it nice and tight to the apex for turn 4. Run it out wide a little bit just to get the apex then for turn 5. Beautifully done. And then bring on the power just gently. Brake here as you get to the green and the white sort of strip on the floor there onto the green part. Keep it over to turn 6 and then slowly bring on the power once more. Now don't necessarily stress over getting each and every gold objective. Just focus on improving the lap time. That's what I'm doing here for you today, showing you how it needs to be done. So now time for sector 3, keep the bike onto the left hand side and then slowly position yourself to the right for turn 9. You can go for a tighter apex there as we now go firm on the brakes just near the end of the rumble strip there. That left hand side rumble strip just before that ended, we started positioning ourselves to the brakes for turn 10. So keep the bike onto the left hand side, don't go full acceleration here because you're going to spin up the rear, just try and give it around 80 to 90%. And now for turn 12, going to position the bike into the rumble strip and then launch it over for turn 13. You need that sort of apex to get over across if you use the rumble strip. So now to the right hand side for turn 9, nice and tight apex but a bit wobbly on the rumble strip before it. And now to the left hand side, really tight apex for turn 10. This is how you want to be doing it to improve your lap times, but as long as you get through it, that's a great start, so that's all that really matters. But now braking near the white line, pretty much on the white line for that one into turn 12, as we now go onto the right hand side, onto the rumble strip, and then keep it even tighter for the apex of turn 13. So once more, get onto the rumble strip, chuck it to the right hand side, be very careful on the brakes, pay attention to the bottom right hand corner of your screen. You might want to watch this back a couple of times just to understand how much braking pressure is being applied. Now when the brakes are hit hard, they're going to lock, so be very careful. You'll see in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, brakes don't even reach 100%. For a corner such as turn 12 where you're going to be turning the bike, you can't be locking the brakes. So be gentle on the brakes, go roughly 75-85%. So now into the next sector, for sector 4, you need to be positioning yourself into turn 14 nice and tight like thus, and now begin to bring on the brakes for the left-hander. Once again, don't be locking the brakes into turn 15 because that's a corner where you need to brake, trail brake and then release the brakes to get out of the corner. But into the final corner now for turn 16, going a little bit too tight, a little bit gentle on the brakes there, but we can now fire out to the final corner with the ride height device. I clicked it this time, but it's entirely up to you whether you want to use it. Personally, I tend not to use it, but it's up to you. But that's sector 4 done. So once more, onto the right hand side, you're going to be keeping it to the left to then position it to the right hand side. Just a bit of front brake there. You'll see in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, about 50% was applied. And now for the left hand side, difficult section of corners this one. You might want to watch this one back a couple of times because there's not much guidance I can give you, because there's not really that much track sort of support to give assistance to the riders. But now coming out turn 16, no ride height device enabled this time, just simply power setting 3 being applied, as we'll try and charge across the finish line to complete sector 4 once again. So once more, keep it to the left hand side, onto the rumble strip, chuck it over to the right for turn 14, and then bring on the power. Brake here just quite early for the 15th corner rather, and keep it pinned on the exit of this particular corner. Left hand side, the white strip there, you can use that as a guide if it will help you going into turn 16, but we did run it a little bit wide, and I thought I'd use ride height device once more. These will take a couple of attempts if you're trying to do the MotoGP Academy. I did find the bikes felt weird in this particular game mode, but don't worry about that. If you're just trying to improve, don't worry about MotoGP Academy. But let's take a look now at the full lap. Let's piece it all together. So into turn 1, braking just after that white strip, braking before the green part, and the rumble strip starts on the left hand side of the track. Keeping it nice and tight to the apex for turn 1, bringing on the power, and then keeping it to the left hand side. Did go onto the track limits there, but don't worry about that, it didn't really invalidate anything, but I wouldn't advise doing that because of course you will invalidate on a time trial in anything else. So now into turn 3, just exactly what we said earlier, braking here at the white strip for turn 4, very difficult corner to get right. Do not lock the brakes because that is a corner that is really difficult to avoid locking the brakes on, so just be very careful with the left trigger. So now braking into the left-hander for turn 6, keeping it nice and tight to the apex here, and then slowly bringing on the power, and then aggressively firing out of the corner once the time is right. So now braking into turn 7, keeping it nice and tight to the apex, really tight, and slowly bringing on the power. Chuck it to the left-hand side, keep it on the left-hand side until you can feel you're ready to then launch it to the other side for turn 9. Keep an eye on the white strips there, and when the rumble strip ended on the left-hand side of your screen, you can then start to brake into turn 10, keeping it tight until you can then run it wide out into turn 10, and then fire it into turn 11, keeping on the gas. Gently bringing on the brakes here, not locking the brakes, as I mentioned before, very important corner to not lock the brakes on. Keep it tight to the apex here, didn't go for my usual line there of going wider and then coming in tighter, so we did lose a little bit of time there, and the same can be said for turn 14. And now onto the brakes for turn 15, not locking the brakes, keeping it tight, trail braking it to the very last second turn 15, as we now fire on the power, going into the final corner, braking near that white line, and then chucking the Aprilia into the right hand side for the final time to complete our lap time and to complete the objective of beating the MotoGP Academy mode. But more importantly, this will help you guys improve your lap times right here in Qatar. Now if you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comment section down below. If you're looking for more like these, I've got more plans, so stay tuned for now. And if of course you enjoyed this content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. I hope this video helped, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.